So 40 minutes are up. 4 sets. How many were you able to solve? 2 complete sets. 1 question of 1 set. So कौन सा वाला नहीं हो पाया? Satellites वाला. Okay. So 4 sets में से at least, I mean that was because of shortage of time या समझ में नहीं आया? Shortage of time. So अगर time होता तो कर पाते. Okay. Online. क्या हालत है? How many of the questions were we able to do? How many of the sets were you able to complete? 40 minutes, 4 sets. Sure. Let me quickly take you through the basic method of how the sets could be attempted, and then I'll leave it up to you, and then of course I'll give you the answer key to each, and then I'll leave it up to you to once again try the entire set once again, because when you have time, whether you're able to complete it or not. But then you have to do it as a timed exercise, because during the actual exam, you're definitely not going to have unlimited amount of time. Okay. So the first one is about 3 sections of the examination and score for 10 students. How many of you were able to do this set? Okay, completely. Online, did everybody understand this set and how to do it? It's not that difficult. Right? It says that the company administers a written test of 3 sections, 20 marks each, DI, WE, and GA. And the composite score of 80 is calculated. So what they do is DI के marks को double करके बाकी सबको add कर देना. And then from among the rest, the 4 with the highest composite scores are recruited. So if 4 or less candidates qualify, then all those who qualify are recruited. So basically, anyone who scores less than 70 marks in 2 or more sections, and each section is 20 marks. So 70 is 14. So out of 20, if the score is less than 14 in 2 or more, then automatically the person is disqualified. So that tells me that the 4 highest qualifiers have been selected. And then the additional data given to me is that no 2 candidates have had the same composite score. Ajay was the unique highest scorer, blah, 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 blah. So if you're able to complete the table, first let me show you the answers. If you're getting the answers, that means you've got the set. If not, then I'll show you how to work through the table. So first check the answers. Which of the following statements must be true? Both 1 and 2. That is the 4th option. Next one. Which of the following statements must be false? Option A. Bala's score is the same as Jatin in DI. And if all the candidates except Ajay and Danish had different marks in DI and Bala's composite score was less than Chetna's composite score, then what is the maximum marks that Bala could have scored in DI? And this is a type in the answer. So you have to give me the number, integral number. 16. Somebody online is getting 13. Then the actual answer is 13. It's not 16, it's 13. So just we got it. And I think the next one is also type in yes. If the candidates scored different marks in WE, then what is the maximum mark that Harini could have scored in WE? 17, 2 people have got 17. The answer is 14. So 14 could have been the answer. You just have to check why 17 could have been eliminated. What about the others? Only 2 people have given me the answers. Astha, Devanshu. I've given you the answers. Would you like to have some more time after the class to check out how it can be done? Well, it's not tough. You just need to think about it. So now that you know the answers, you can try it once again and see if you're able to get it. If not, then of course I'll put up the solution. Right? Shall we move on to the next one then? Okay. Oh, this is an interesting one. 1600 satellites were sent up by a country for several purposes. The purposes are classified as broadcasting, communication, surveillance, and others. A satellite can serve multiple purposes. However, a satellite serving either B, C, or S does not serve O. and then you are given 4 more facts. How would you represent this data to be able to solve it? Set theory. Yes. So technically what I can have is I can have 3 B, C and S circles overlapping, only 3 circles, because any satellite serving B, C or S does not serve O. That means O will be the circle which is totally outside. So anyone who is not in B, C and S will be in the circle O. So O is exclusive. And then it says that the number of satellites serving B, C and S, though may not be exclusively, are in the ratio of 2:1:1. So if 2x serve B, then X serves C and X serves S, all portions combined. Then it says the number of satellites serving all 3 of B, C and S is 100. So the central area will be equal to 100. Then the number of satellites exclusively serving C is the same as the number of satellites exclusively serving S. So this portion C and S exclusive is A. And this number is 30% of the number of satellites exclusively serving B. So rather than going into decimal points, I'll simply take exclusively serving B as 10A. So these are 30% of that, that is 3A each. So I don't want to get into decimal points, so I manipulate my numbers like this. Then the number of satellites serving O is the same as the number of satellites serving both C and S but not B. So C and S but not B is this area. Let's put this as B, and that is equal to number of satellites serving here B. So if I want to put, I can put C and D as these. C is B and C but not S. D is B and S but not. And now you have the equations that the sum of all these figures will be equal to 1600 plus 10A plus C plus D plus 100 is 2x. Also 10A plus C plus D plus 100 is double of 3A plus C plus 100 plus B. And 3A plus C plus 100 plus B is 3A plus D plus 100 plus B. So essentially C and D have the same value. So using these equations, you can boil it down, and then based on the questions, then you can answer. So set theory will basically help you. And the easy part is, instead of taking in decimal points, conveniently assume these numbers. So playing with integral numbers will be much easier. Will you be able to solve it now? Give it a try. At least this is the basic technique of how to start the example. And then you'll get a set of equations which you can reduce. Everybody getting this online as well? Right. So I'll give you the answers and then you can check what best can be said about the number of satellites serving C. Did anybody actually complete this set online? To give you the answers, first one, what can be said about the number of satellites serving C? It should be between 450 and 725. Then the minimum possible number of satellites serving B exclusively will be equal to 250. If at least 100 of the 1600 satellites are serving O, then what can be said about the number of satellites serving S? At the most, it can be 475. And if the number of satellites serving at least 2 among B, C and S is 1200, then which of the following must be false? That is, the number of satellites serving C cannot be uniquely determined. You have to find out the false statement. That means it is possible to find out the number of satellites serving C uniquely. Right? So try the sets and the equations and see if you're getting the same answers as these. Okay. The third one was an interesting set. You are given an n by n square matrix to be filled with numerals so that no 2 adjacent cells have the same numeral. And 2 cells are called adjacent if they touch each other horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So a cell in one of the 4 corners has 3 cells adjacent to it, and a cell in the first or the last row column, which is not in the corner, has 5 cells adjacent to it. So any other cell has 8 cells adjacent to it. Did you understand this data? What it means? Everybody online as well? No? See, if I want to represent this, it says that there is an n by n square matrix. So if I say it is a 2 by 2 ka matrix, so I can draw a 2 by 2 matrix like this. So if I put the number 1 here, then but this is horizontal neighbor, this one is the vertical neighbor, and this one is the diagonal neighbor. None of these cells can have the same number. So if I put 2 here, 3 and 4, then this matches. I cannot put 1 in any of the other squares. So all the 4 numbers have to be unique here. Now, if I make it a 3 by 3 matrix, right, then for number 1, these are the 3 adjacent matrix. So a cell in one of the 4 corners has 3 cells adjacent to it, right? Now, if I make it a 4 by 4 matrix, then again, a corner cell will have 3 things adjacent to it. Anything in the border, right? A cell in the first or last row column, not in the corner. So something like this will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 adjacent cells. And any other thing. So let us say this particular square. So it will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 cells. So that those are the neighbors for each cell. That is how you define the neighbors of a cell. Did you understand the definition of neighbor? And no neighboring cells, horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, can have the same number in it. So understood the rules as well. Simple rule. This is exactly Sudoku. Okay. So the first one. Now let us see if you got the concept and this. What is the minimum number of different numerals needed to fill a 3 by 3 square matrix? You can do it using 4 numerals. You don't need more than 4 for this. Next one. I think it's a 4 by 4 matrix or 5 by 5. So for a 5 by 5 matrix, how many numerals do you think can fill it in? You can do it in 4. Okay. Online, for a 5 by 5 matrix, using how many exclusive numerals can you satisfy the rules and fill it up? The answer. So again, for a 5 by 5 matrix, also you can do it using just 4 numerals. Right? You just work it out how it is done. And the next one, suppose you are allowed to make one mistake. That is, one pair of adjacent cells can have the same numeral. Then what is the minimum number of different numerals required to fill a 5 by 5 matrix? Again, even if you are allowed to make a mistake, using 4 numerals you can fill it up. Because exclusively 4 के साथ कर सकते हो, mistake के साथ तो 4 से ज़्यादा चाहिए ही नहीं. So यहाँ पे तो calculation भी कुछ नहीं करना है. And supposing the cells adjacent to any particular cell must have different numerals, then what is the minimum number of? It is the same question. Nine. Must have different numerals. All the numerals must be different. So in this case, you can do it using 9 numerals. Okay, ji? Everyone? You just have to work out how to fill in the blanks. That's it. And I think the last set was more of calculations. I was thinking it was calculation based and not logic based per se. The multi-layered pie chart showing the sales of LED sets for a big retail electronic outlet, monthly sales and quarterly sales, and those things are given. So here you just had to work out the details and assume some numbers according to the size of the chart if necessary. I'll just show you the answers first. Percentage increase in sales in 2017 December as compared to December 2016. D, 28.57. Okay, percentage increase in sales in December 17 over 16, right? So December 17 kitna hai? This is December 17 and sorry, this is December 16 and this is December 17. So if I take December 17, the quarter is 500. So 150 and 170 agar main kam karta hu to 320. So this is equal to 180. And in December, again, how much do I put here? Now that is the issue. इसका कोई क्लोज फिगर दिख रहा है 220 के आस? Does it look same as quarter 3?
November and December.
But November, isn't November lesser than December actually in width? So December will be slightly more than November.
वैसे assume कर ले.
Assume नहीं, size के हिसाब से देखने का pie charts are always according to size. If you compare the sizes, is it according to scale? I don't know. Is there any data which helps us identify exactly December में and November में numbers कितने हैं? I know that both of them combined should be equal to 260. But 130 का split, चलो मान ले अगर दोनों सेम है तो 130 से 150 ऊपर गया तो 130 के ऊपर 20, so 2 by 13 will be 14 point something, but 14 point something का option नहीं है ना अपने पास. So what do we do in this case then? You have to go by scale. It is pure guesswork because there is absolutely no data which is given to you which can help you estimate कैसे जाएगा. Option wise ही best guesstimate क्या है वही करने के. This is a pure guesswork वाला question for the data which is not marked, and that's why none of the options are very close because guess करके close options say there's no way you can solve it. So the options will be at a distance because it is just to check how much can we guess properly. So let's see. So first one 28.57. In which quarter of 17 was the percentage increase in sales from the same quarter of 16 the highest? So quarter wise we have to compare, right? Quarter one ka to we can guess, we don't have to guess, numbers are there. So quarter one is equal to 80 plus 60 140. So quarter one is 240. Quarter two diya hua hai 150. Quarter three we can again find 250. 75 plus 55 is 130. 130. This is again 250. Quarter four is 360. Quarter one is given as quarter one for the next year is given as 380. Quarter two is given as 125, 130, 200. Quarter three and quarter four. The exact figures going. So now it's just a matter of calculation. Figures to सारे exactly available है. It's just a matter of calculation. गद्दा मजूरी problem. I'll give you the answer. Check whether you're able to calculate it correctly. It should be quarter one. During which quarter was the percentage decrease in sales from the previous quarter's sales the highest? Option D तो हो नहीं सकता because 2016 के लिए 2015 का data है ही नहीं. So it has to be either A, B or C. And here. Sorry, previous. Sorry. So quarter one के साथ compare कर सकते. Sorry. My mistake. But anyway, option C is the answer in this case. It's not the corresponding quarter of the previous year. It's literally the previous quarter. Yeah. And in which month was the percentage increase in sales from the previous month's sales the highest? Again, just a matter of calculation. October of 2017 is what you should get. Right? So this set is purely based on calculations mostly. पिछले उसके पहले के तीन sets solvable but logical based. So एक आध set among all in the CAT maybe this calculations based अगर है तो मेहनत मजदूरी है लेकिन fortunately calculator भी available होता है तो it makes life a bit simple. The remaining तो of course you can see. Set 2 was a satellite one Devanshu. Satellite, the first one is D. Second one is C. Third one is D. And fourth one is again B. Right? Okay. And briefly, how we solve the table in set one. Again, I'll take you through the basics of how that set can be done. See, it says that a company administers a written test of 3 sections, 20 marks each. So first we need to be sure that the DI score that we are taking, it has to be doubled when I go for the composite, because the composite is out of 80. So when we say 8, this becomes 16, 19 becomes 38, 8 becomes 16, 12 becomes 24, 15 becomes 30, 14 becomes 28, 5 becomes 10, right? And composite score is nothing but the sum of all the scores added. So certain data is available to us. For example, Chetna. So Chetna's score is 54. Esther's score is 58. Falak's score is 47. So this data we can always estimate because we have got all three numbers for them. Now it says no two candidates have the same composite score, right? No two candidates have the same composite score. So any number which is visible here, 54, 58, 47, and subsequent numbers, they cannot be repeated. Now, it says Ajay was the unique highest scorer in WE. Now, highest scorer and unique, Esther is already at 18. So Ajay can only be at either 19 or 20. So if Ajay's score is 19, then the composite score will be 16 plus 16, 32, 32 plus 19 is equal to 32, 42, 52, 51. Or if his score is 20, then the total composite can be 52. So his composite score possible is either 51 or 52. Then it says among the 4 recruited, Geeta had the lowest composite score. That means Geeta definitely got recruited. I don't know her composite score, but she definitely got recruited. But I also have a case where it says that 70% marks in 2 or more sections are required. Otherwise, you are disqualified. And Geeta already has less than 70% marks in GA because 70% is 14 marks. And she has 14 marks in DI. So WE mein her score has to be either 14 or 14 plus. Geeta's score cannot be less than 14 in WE. Varna Geeta would have been disqualified. And she has been selected. So with the lowest score, she has been selected. But nevertheless, her WE score should be 14 plus. Now it says Indu was recruited. So if Indu was recruited and Indu's score was only 8 in one section, that means her score in DI, the individual score in DI out of 20 should be more than 14. And her score in GA also has to be more than 14. Only then she can be selected. Then Danish, Harini and Indu scored the same marks in GA. So Danish, Harini and Indu scored the same marks in GA. And we already know that Indu is 14 plus. So whatever is the value of Indu in GA, we have to replicate it for Harini and Danish whenever we get the marks. Now it says Indu and Jatin both scored 100% in exactly one section. So Jatin scoring exactly 100 in one section can only be DI. So if his score is DI, his overall score is 40. So 40 plus 16 plus 14, Jatin's overall score becomes 70. And Indu has scored 100% in exactly one of the sections. So which of these sections? Indu could have scored 100 in either DI or Indu could have scored in GA. And it says Jatin's composite score was 10 more than Indu's. So if Jatin's composite score was 10 more than Indu's, Indu's composite score has to be 60. Now, if Indu's composite score is 60 and she scored 100% in DI, then in DI she has scored 40, double of 20. That means 48. In this, she has to score 12. But if she scores 100% in this, then her score here is 20. 20 plus 8. 32, she has to score 16 in this so that her total score becomes 60. So that you have the possibilities of X being 20 or X being the other number. So इतना data आपके पास है. बाकी गीता का score lowest है. बाकी selection किन-किन का हो सकता है. Right? So it's quite possible Jatin got selected and Indu got selected. So work out the remaining details now. With a little bit of trial and error, you'll be able to work it out now. Then you can eliminate some numbers also after this.
Sir, last में 14 और 17 दो बचे.
कौन सा?
The question 4.
So question 4, okay, पूरा डेटा देखना पड़ेगा इसमें, कहीं ना कहीं तो एलिमिनेशन होता है उसका, if I'm not mistaken. ये वाला ना, if all the candidates score different marks in WE, then what is the maximum marks that Harini could have scored in WE?
So basically, Geeta WE का score कैसे था?
Geeta should have qualified. So to be qualified, अब कौन-कौन disqualify हुआ है? So if the lower Falak is definitely disqualified. 7 and 10, so Falak is definitely disqualified. Then Chetna is definitely disqualified. 4 and 12. Bala is definitely disqualified. 9 and 11. Right? So Ajay has definitely scored more than 70% in 2 sections. But whether Ajay is qualified or not, I don't know. Because if Ajay is qualified, then Ajay has to be more than Geeta, because Geeta is the lowest person who has scored and qualified. And then Bala is definitely, okay, Bala Chetna tha out hai. Now Danish ka we don't know. X key value, if it is greater than, if it is 14 or more, then Danish could have qualified. So if X की value, so X की आपके 2 possible values कुछ आते हैं ना, वो कहीं ना कहीं पे आपको unique values नहीं देगा. One of them, if you add up, because the condition for the 4th question was what? That if all of them had different scores. So in one of them, you won't get all of them having different scores in WE. So उसके वो condition के basis पे आ जाएगा, right?
Then I am stuck is we know Geeta को 14 plus है.
हाँ, in WE, हाँ.
But
14 plus, so 14 plus is not 15. 14 plus, so 14, 15, 16. I'm saying 14 plus as in 0 भी, 14 भी हो सकता है.
So we don't know कि 14 at least last में 2 ही option बचते हैं.
हाँ.
Either 14 or 17.
हाँ, हाँ.
क्योंकि गीता का 14 भी हो सकता है, 17 भी हो सकता है.
Correct.
So maximum marks that H can get. तो उसमें 2 ही option है, either 14 or 17. क्योंकि अगर गीता को 14 मिले, she will be 17.
फिर टोटल्स में गीता लोएस्ट होती है, हरिणी सिलेक्ट हो रही है अकॉर्डिंग टू द कंडीशंस. हरिणी इज टोटली आउट. तो किसी और के स्कोर्स आ रहे हैं 14 या 17.
तो इसमें 20 मिलेगी.
हाँ. सो हरिणी 14 17 दोनों में इन हो सकती है. तो फिर उन दोनों के हिसाब से विल गीता दोनों, एक गीता को दे, एक हरिणी को दो, और उसमें से गीता हैज टू हैव द लोएस्ट composite score among the selected people, because Geeta is definitely selected but she has the lowest composite score, and Hindu was definitely recruited, so that will help you eliminate. Everybody online got this as well? So try all these examples once more, at least a couple of times, to see how quickly you can get it. Because एक ऐसा टेबल टाइप और एक लास्ट जो पाई चार्ट है, जिस कैलकुलेशन टाइप, these two का एक स्टैंडर्ड एग्जांपल होना is quite expected in CAT, and more often than not यही ऐसे एग्जांपल्स होंगे जो अपना स्कोर बचाएंगे, because कोई ना कोई उल्टा सीधा सेट आएगा जिसमें टफ होगा. But if you get even one or two questions out of 4 in this, you're still in a good position. So all it requires is a little bit of practice of these tables and estimation of numbers, and we are through. So next is we are on Friday. Friday I'm planning that we will have a test, timed test of both English and reasoning, 40 marks के 2 sections. So if you can give it on a lap,
Continuous.
Exam में तो break के बिना ही होता है. So 40 minutes you will get one test. You complete the section, then you can start the second section of 40 marks, and we'll keep it online, right? So if you want, you can attempt it. I mean, you will attempt it on your laptop. It will be tough on the thing. So on a laptop, better to do it at home. But I'll give you the modalities in the live class. Okay? Tab tak, if any doubts, you can hang around. Otherwise, done for the day. Those are online. May exit the session.